Have you ever gotten in serious trouble? I was 17 and pretty much kept to myself at school. I didn't have tons of friends, but I spent most afternoons volunteering at the animal shelter because I wanted to be a vet. Tuesday morning during gym class, I noticed this freshman kid named Marcus stumbling around during warm-ups. His face looked really pale, and he kept blinking like he couldn't focus. Then he just collapsed, face first onto the concrete basketball court with this horrible thud that made everyone go silent for a second. At first, kids started laughing because they thought he was being dramatic or trying to get out of running laps, but I ran over when I saw he wasn't moving at all. His lips were turning blue. Coach Williams just stood there frozen. He was screaming for someone to get the nurse, but his feet weren't moving. I checked Marcus's pulse and it was barely there, really weak and slow. I yelled at 2 kids to call 911 right now and sprinted inside to grab the AED from the main hallway near the office. The security door was unlocked like it always was during class time. I grabbed the red box off the wall and ran back outside. By the time I got there, Marcus was barely breathing. His chest was moving, but just tiny little movements. I'd never actually used an AED on a real person before, just the dummy during my volunteer training at the shelter. But I remembered everything. I ripped his shirt open, stuck the pads on his chest, and followed the voice commands from the machine. It told me to press the shock button. Marcus's whole body jumped when the electricity hit him. Then he gasped this huge breath and his eyes opened. He was confused and scared, but he was breathing normally again. The paramedics showed up about 5 minutes later. They said his heart had stopped, and if I hadn't shocked him when I did, he probably would have died. They loaded him into the ambulance, and I thought that was it. But the next morning, I got called to Principal Johnson's office. I figured they wanted to thank me or maybe give me some kind of award. Instead, Mrs. Collins, the vice principal, was sitting there with this serious expression and a stack of papers. She told me I was being suspended for 5 days, effective immediately. I asked why, and she said because I had entered the school building without permission during gym class, creating a security risk. It didn't matter that the door was unlocked. It didn't matter that a kid was dying. They had zero tolerance policies about students being in unauthorized areas. I tried explaining that I saved someone's life, but she just kept saying rules are rules. She handed me the suspension papers and said my mom had already been called to pick me up. Mom was waiting in the parking lot absolutely furious. Not at me, but at the school. She marched right back inside and started yelling at the principal about how insane this was. But he backed up Mrs. Collins completely. He said they couldn't make exceptions, or other students would think they could break rules too. The story got picked up by the local news station that night. The reporter interviewed Marcus's mom, who said I was a hero, and the school was punishing me for doing the right thing. She showed the custom medal they had made for me that said, "For being braver than the adults in charge." The phone at our house wouldn't stop ringing. People from all over town were calling to say they supported me. The animal shelter where I volunteered put up a sign calling me their hero. Even some teachers from other schools sent letters saying what the administration did was wrong. But Principal Johnson doubled down. He went on the news and said he stood by the suspension because rules exist for everyone's safety. He said if they let students break rules, even for good reasons, it would create chaos. Marcus came back to school the next week. His parents had invited me to dinner and gave me that medal. His dad said the doctors told them another minute without the shock, and their son would have had permanent brain damage or died. The school never apologized.